What if we could bring Genghis Khan and Napoleon Bonaparte into one room and ask them how they changed the world? Both started as outsiders, one an abandoned Mongol outcast, the other a Corsican upstart, yet both rose to command empires. Their ambition, strategy, and ability to inspire loyalty set them apart, but their paths to power and their legacies diverged in fascinating ways. By comparing these two titans, we're not just looking at the past, we're asking what it truly means to lead and what kind of legacy we choose to leave behind. Let's journey into their worlds and discover how two men shaped history. On the vast and unforgiving Mongolian steppe, a land of sweeping grasslands and endless horizons, Temujin's early childhood was a harsh crucible, marked by the sting of betrayal and the constant struggle for survival. He learned quickly that life was a battle. The brutal murder of his father cast a long shadow over his young life, plunging him into a world of uncertainty and danger. Abandoned by his tribe and left to starve in the unforgiving wilderness, he learned a crucial lesson: to trust in his own skill and cunning, rather than relying on the privileges of birthright or lineage. He began forging alliances not based on blood ties but on mutual respect and shared ambition, carefully building a network of loyal followers. Temujin skillfully united the often warring Mongol tribes, employing a combination of shrewd diplomacy, strategic marriages to cement alliances and foster unity, and, when necessary, the application of ruthless force to subdue those who resisted his vision. In the year 1206, after decades of struggle and triumph, he was proclaimed Genghis Khan, the universal ruler, transforming a collection of scattered nomadic bands into a highly disciplined and virtually unstoppable war machine. He established the Yasa, a comprehensive code of laws designed to govern all aspects of Mongol society that rewarded talent and unwavering loyalty above all else, creating a powerful meritocracy where ability determined advancement. Genghis Khan's remarkable rise was not merely a personal victory, it marked the explosive birth of a vast and formidable empire that would reshape the world. He possessed the extraordinary ability to transform humble shepherds into fearless conquerors, laying the solid foundation for what would become the largest contiguous land empire in the annals of human history. His visionary leadership redefined the very limits of what was possible, inspiring his people to achieve feats previously thought unimaginable. For a solitary outcast who had once roamed the desolate steppe, struggling merely to survive. The world, irrevocably altered by his actions, would never be quite the same again. The master of the Mongolian plains, now at the head of a unified and powerful nation, was poised and ready to conquer territories and civilizations far beyond the familiar horizons of Mongolia, ushering in an era of unprecedented expansion and conquest. Fast forward 5 centuries to the island of Corsica, a rugged and beautiful land in the Mediterranean. It was here that Napoleon Bonaparte, born into a family of minor nobility, began his journey. He would later face ridicule and a sense of exclusion in the grand social circles of France. Despite these challenges, he excelled at military school, demonstrating a keen intellect and a natural aptitude for strategy. He spent countless hours devouring books on history and military strategy, absorbing the lessons of the past to prepare for his future. As France descended into the chaos of the French Revolution, Napoleon recognized and seized his chance to rise above the turmoil. Napoleon's battlefield brilliance, combined with his unwavering ambition, set him apart from his peers. These qualities propelled him from an outsider to a celebrated national hero, a figure of hope and strength for the French people. Beyond military prowess, he also mastered the art of propaganda, carefully shaping his legend and skillfully winning the trust and admiration of the people. Through shrewd political maneuvering and the unwavering support of his loyal military forces, he seized power, ultimately crowning himself Emperor of France in a lavish ceremony in 1804. Napoleon didn't just rule, he fundamentally transformed France, leaving an indelible mark on its institutions and culture. One of his most enduring legacies was the introduction of the Napoleonic Code, which promoted principles of equality before the law and advancement based on merit rather than birthright. He also reorganized the government, established a modern banking system, and reformed the educational system to create a more efficient and equitable society. From the chaos of revolution, he forged a modern empire, built on principles of efficiency and centralized control, and with his power consolidated, he was ready to expand his influence and dominance across the entire continent of Europe. The little corporal from Corsica, once an outsider, now stood tall among history's giants, a figure of immense power and influence. his vision, his ambition, and his actions would fundamentally reshape the European continent for generations to come. Genghis Khan's Mongol horsemen were a whirlwind, a force of nature unleashed upon the world. Their tactics were as brutal as they were effective. Masters of mobility, archery, and psychological warfare, they struck fear into the hearts of their enemies. Their composite bows, deadly and accurate, could fell an enemy from incredible distances. He demanded surrender, offering terms of peace and sparing those who complied, integrating them into his growing empire. But he unleashed unimaginable terror on those who resisted, turning defiance into a lesson etched in fire and blood. This calculated brutality spread fear that made future conquests easier, as cities and kingdoms weighed the cost of resistance. His army's speed and adaptability, honed on the vast steppes, made them nearly unstoppable, able to outmaneuver and overwhelm almost any foe. Napoleon, meanwhile, revolutionized European warfare with his Grande Armée, a force built on discipline, innovation, and national fervor. His core was the infantry, the backbone of his war machine, supported by the swift and decisive cavalry, and devastating artillery, which he used to soften enemy positions. He used concentrated firepower, massing his cannons to break enemy lines with overwhelming barrages, then struck decisively with speed and surprise, exploiting the gaps created by his artillery. Napoleon's genius lay in reading the battlefield, understanding the terrain, and anticipating his enemy's moves, and inspiring loyalty by leading from the front, sharing the hardships and dangers with his men. Genghis Khan's army was a fluid storm, an unstoppable force that adapted to any situation. Napoleon's, a thunderous machine, a carefully orchestrated symphony of destruction. Both redefined warfare but in radically different ways, reflecting their distinct cultures and eras. Their strategies changed how wars would be fought for generations, influencing military doctrine and tactics for centuries to come. Each inspired fear and loyalty, forging unbreakable bonds with their soldiers. But their methods reflected their worlds, the vast steppes of Mongolia and the cultivated fields of Europe. The battlefield was their canvas, victory, their art, painted with the blood and sacrifice of their armies. Their legacies as military masterminds endure, etched in the annals of history. Conquest was only the beginning. Both leaders knew empires needed more than force to last. Genghis Khan built the Yam, a vast postal network, and enforced the Pax Mongolica, enabling safe trade and cultural exchange across Eurasia. He tolerated diverse religions, uniting a multicultural empire through pragmatic rule. The Mongols became connectors, not just conquerors. Napoleon's vision was rooted in the ideals of the French Revolution: liberty, equality, and merit. The Napoleonic Code replaced feudal laws, guaranteeing legal equality and influencing legal systems worldwide. He standardized weights, measures, and administration, modernizing France and its territories. Both men built systems that outlasted their empires. Their true genius lay in shaping societies, not just winning wars. They proved that lasting power comes from building, not just conquering. Both empires fell, but their legacies endure. Genghis Khan is remembered as both a ruthless conqueror and the founder of Mongolia, but his greatest impact was connecting East and West. His empire enabled the transfer of ideas, technology, and trade, helping spark the Renaissance. He broke down barriers between civilizations, shaping the interconnected world we know today. Napoleon's legacy is double-edged: tyrant to his enemies, modernizer to his people. The Napoleonic Code spread legal equality and inspired modern democracies. He dismantled feudalism, paving the way for nation-states and igniting nationalism across Europe. Ironically, his conquests unified his opponents, shaping the map of Europe for centuries. Both men's actions still ripple through history, influencing law, politics, and culture. Their footprints are everywhere. So, who was greater, Genghis Khan or Napoleon? Genghis Khan united a fractured people and reshaped continents, connecting worlds through conquest and trade. Napoleon modernized societies, spreading revolutionary ideas and legal equality. One's legacy is carved into the land and the flow of history, the others into law books and national identities. Their stories are not just about them, they're about us. They challenge us to consider the nature of power, ambition, and the impact of a single life. Their echoes shape our laws, our nations, and our global community. The real question: what can we learn from their triumphs and failures? How will our choices shape the history of tomorrow?